Guilty! I'll be the first to admit that sometimes I use the TV as a babysitter for my kids. When I have a lot of housework or homework to do, I'll ask, what do you guys want to watch? And then turn on the cartoon of their choice and start whatever chore or assignment needs to be done at the time. I know a lot of you are probably in the same situation that I am, trying to raise a family, go to school, go to work, and keep up with the house all at the same time. So I'm asking that you turn off the TV and tune in as I talk to you about how too much screen time can negatively affect your children. I chose to speak to you about this topic today because, like I said before, I'm guilty of using the TV as a distraction for my kids. I've thoroughly researched this subject and I'm committed to finding better ways to entertain my children, and I hope that you will be too. The purpose of my speech today is to persuade you all that screen time should be limited for children 5 and under. All electronics should be limited for children 5 and under because it can slow ongoing language development, reduce short-term memory and concentration, and have a negative impact on social skills. The first point I'd like to discuss is how prolonged exposure to electronics can slow language development in children. According to ParentingScience.com, in an article titled The Effects of Television on Language Skills, TV is linked with slower language acquisition because TV time tends to replace conversation time between babies and adults. In one study that I find particularly interesting, 2 groups of English-speaking children between the ages of 6 and 12 months were exposed to native Mandarin Chinese speakers either in person or on a TV screen. The infants who were able to interact with the speaker in person demonstrated the ability to differentiate between language sounds that are common in Mandarin Chinese. However, the infants who watched the speaker on a TV screen showed no more ability to distinguish language sounds than children who had never heard the language spoken before. Television viewing is scientifically linked to delayed speech development in babies and toddlers. Young children who watch TV alone are 8.47 times more likely to experience a speech delay than their peers who do not. Simply put, children learn their skills in language and speech by interacting with real, live people. Not only does screen time slow language development, it also causes reduced executive functions such as short-term memory and concentration in children under 5 years of age. When children watch fast-paced, colorful television like SpongeBob SquarePants, for example, the mental effort required to carry out executive functions is depleted because it's being used to process the material that's being given to them so quickly. If you think about it, it takes a lot of concentration for young children to learn how to behave on a day-to-day basis, and their ability to practice self-control is diminished immediately after watching a fast-paced program. Children who engage in screen time every day, whether that means watching television, playing video games, or using a tablet, display higher levels of hyperactivity, impulsiveness, and distractibility than their peers who do not. According to UrbanChildInstitute.org, in an article titled Infants, Toddlers, and Television, early exposure to TV has also been connected to attention disorders and sleep problems. Which brings us to the final point I'd like to discuss with you today. Screen time can negatively impact a child's social skills. Now, there are a ton of DVDs and children's programs out there that claim to improve a child's communication skills. Think about those My Baby Can Read DVDs. But the truth is, when a child's fixated on the TV, they're not interacting with the people around them. And face-to-face time with other people is crucial to the development of social skills. According to Dr. Vic Strasberger, in an article titled The Effects of TV on Children's Communication Skills on motherhood.modernmom.com, when social skills are limited, they put a child at a disadvantage in their personal lives, and it may even affect their work lives down the road. In one study done by the American Academy of Pediatrics, researchers found that engaging in more than 2 hours of screen time per day at age 5 was associated with fewer social skills and significant behavior problems. Too much screen time can also lead to aggressive behavior, and even good shows where the hero beats up the bad guys can foster violent behavior in young children. According to MayoClinic.org, in an article titled Children and TV, Limiting Your Child's Screen Time, excessive amounts of TV at age 4 is linked to bullying at ages 6 through 11. In conclusion, I wanted to share with you the negative effects that too much screen time can have on young children and to persuade you to limit the screen time that your children are exposed to. I've explained to you that too much screen time can lead to delayed language development, it can reduce short-term memory, concentration, and other executive functions, and it can negatively impact a child's social skills. Again, I feel qualified to talk to you about this topic because I'm guilty of letting my kids indulge in too much screen time, especially when it makes my life a little easier. I've also spent a great amount of time researching this subject, and now that I'm more well-informed, I plan to find better alternatives for my kids. If you're already a parent, plan to become one in the future, or even if you just have small children in your family, I strongly encourage you to limit the amount of screen time the children in your family are exposed to. Nothing bad can come from turning off the electronics and going outside, reading a book, playing a game together, or just plain having a face-to-face conversation with your child. Anything in excess is detrimental to kids. According to kidshealth.org, in an article titled How TV Affects Your Child, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that children under 2 not have any screen time at all, and kids ages 2 through 5 should be limited to no more than 1 hour per day. So the next time you're tempted to turn on the TV for your kids and have some time to yourself, try to remember these guidelines and find a better option. Thank you all so much for listening.